So our project is called the Friendzone, and it is essentially a networking platform consisting of two networks, the Standard Network and the University of Toronto Network. The Standard Network is a network of users and their friends. Our second network is comprised of users and their interests, like the campus they go to, the year they're in, the program they're enrolled in, and their favorite course. Since school is online, we thought this could be a neat opportunity to create something that could essentially make networking easier for pandemic forsaken students trying to make friends and have a wholesome university experience. We will first start by running the Standard Network, followed by the UFT network.
So when the first prompt is given, we can learn more about each network. So first, we can see the Standard Network. And it just shows you some extra information there is to know. And we can also see more about the UFT, University of Toronto Network. And same like before, it's some extra information. Now we can exit out of this. And now we can get started and access a network that we want. So first we'll get started with the Standard Network. So we have to type in a file name that contains our network. Essentially, now we just wait until the file is read. And here are some relevant statistics. Here it says that the network has 999 users. The largest amount of friends one person has is 244. The average number of friends per user is 199. And there are people with 244 friends, and their ID is 104. So in regarding features, we can get started with the friend recommendation system. Now, how this works is it essentially gets all the users who have friends in common with a typed user, and it returns you who has the most friends in common, but they are not specifically your friend. So for example, we give the user 623. Now it essentially is finding all friends in common with that user and other IDs, and it's returning the largest one. So here it says that for the user with ID 623, we recommend user with ID 254. This is because user 623 and user 254 have 47 friends in common, and that user 623 does not have more common friends with anyone else. Now, the second feature is the common friend finder. It's essentially what it sounds like. We enter two users, and it returns all friends that they have in common. Here it says user 451 and 789 share 38 friends in common. And our third feature is a graph that displays the distribution of friends per user. So here we have about 200 friends, relatively speaking, is about 25 to 35 users who have around that range of friends. And we also have plotted a distribution density curve where it shows the relative density from the number of friends according to the users. And here we can also, we can add a new file, but the new file has to be a text file that is also in the same format as our initial network file that we're using. And now our final feature is adding a friend. Now we have to type in an ID that already exists in the file, and we associate a friend with that ID. So essentially now we are giving the ID 253 to be friends with the ID 624. And now we can get started with our University of Toronto network. So we have to type in the file that contains the data for our UFT network. And here are some relevant data. There are 61,690 registered IDs. Here are also the most popular pieces of data in that file. You can see that Scarborough has 20,738 appearances. The most popular year of study is 2 with 15,498 appearances, and so on and so forth. And our first feature is the friend recommendation system, which works essentially like the previous one, except we're reading at interests and not particular friends. So we can give an ID that exists in the file. And here it says that the user ID 25367, we recommend the user with ID 61203. That is because they share 3 interests in common. Our filter system is giving certain criteria, and it returns all users who conform to that specific amount of criteria. For example, you can use a campus, St. George, you can have a year of studies, those 4. Again, enter a program. And our 3-letter course would be CSC. And here, there's only 1 user that matched these criteria. And you can also meet these users at a certain building inside the campus that you chose. And our 3rd and last feature for this network is adding a user. And we can add interest to the new user that we are going to create. So our campus can be our year, our program, and our favorite course type. And now essentially what happens is a user is created with that specific data that we wrote. Now our social network has 61,691 registered users. And that should be it about the UFT network.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Hope you enjoy the Friendzone.